I get recognised like every 5 minutes here, which I'm fine with because no one's ever been horrible to me or anything when I've met someone or when they've like noticed me out. But if you're just like kind of going to the movie theatre or just like popping into like Whole Foods, which I love at the moment, it's a bit difficult if you're just trying to hang out with your mates. But at the same time, I love meeting my fans, and if they're excited to see me, then I'll take a few moments out of being normal.
You don't yell at them and slap them.
No, I never would. I never ever would. But also, like being away from home so much because my profile's bigger now. I've been here for the most of the year so far, and I miss my mum and my friends and stuff like that. But
When you were here last time, you told me you didn't want to be a celebrity. I mean, many would argue you've become one now. What do you think?
I don't think I'm a celebrity. I think I'm a musician here, which is why I love coming here. You know, I'm not known for like dating some football player. I'm not known for writing a book at the age of 16, which is absurd. I'm not known for doing a perfume, all these other stuff. So, celebrity to me is like when you just become an overall like sort of entertainer and you have your like kind of fingers in many different pies. Like I don't. I mean, apart from I am the biggest hypocrite because I said I never want to be an actress, but I'm in Ugly Betty. But I am playing myself, so it's okay. I think. So no, I don't think I am a celebrity. I think, you know, I'm becoming well known, which is great, but I think there's a big difference between being known for one thing and being known for sex tapes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you've become a bit of a positive role model over the past year too, in being attractive but uninterested in the music industry's traditional standards of Barbie-esque beauty for women. Do you feel good about that alternative role model aspect? Is that something you want to be part of?
I mean, it's flattering. I'm really scared when mothers bring their daughters to my shows and they're like, "Oh, you're a perfect role model for my like 10-year-old daughter." It's like I'm 20, like I've got a lot of time to mess up. Do you know what I mean? So that I find really scary. But like the greatest feeling is when I do a show and like people come up to me like make me really comfortable just to be myself. Like that's much better than like, "Oh, I wish I was you." Like, do you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I never was kind of chasing for that, but if people want to see me like that, then I'm more than happy to.
We live
try
in
and
the
do that.
airbrushed era,
Yeah.
and people augment themselves. And have you had any pressure? Has anybody talked to you about, you know, we want to change your hair, we want to do this to you?
No, no, not at all, never. I think that's because like in England, I signed to an indie label and it's not really about that kind of thing. You know, they don't really think like a major that much. And then when I did sign to a major record company in the rest of America with Columbia, I was, you know, I was already quite established in England, as in like known for putting my foot down and not letting anyone be like very in my face. So no, I haven't. And also like I'm not gonna like just because like a lot of people, more people know me. Like if people like you know like want to be rude about me and call me fat and stuff like that, then like that's kind of makes me not want to change even more. Do you know what I mean? Because I just sort of start giving in. And also I don't know these people that are like being horrible about me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I ain't never gonna meet them. They're all anonymous on YouTube. No, I don't care. As long as my man's happy.
Do you have a man?
No.
Oh, but as long as your potential man is happy.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, you sure you don't have a man?
Yeah,
You seem to have somebody in
I'm
mind.
always single when people ask me.
Right. All right. That's probably a good tactic, unless your man doesn't find that happy.
It's fine.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
this record, I mean, your debut record, 19, I was reflecting on this as I was listening to it again this week. It's a lot of love songs.
Yeah.
And love songs that you wrote very confessionally at a time when people didn't know you a couple years ago. You're an 18-year-old writing these songs from your heart. How do you feel now about the fact that you've exposed yourself so much so in all these love songs as this record just keeps on giving and getting bigger around the world?
I don't regret it, but the reason the first album was kind of so honest was because I wasn't expecting anyone to care about it and anyone to hear it. So I was kind of writing it for myself to be productive out of a bad situation. And I thought it'd be a London thing, like let alone a UK, worldwide, America thing as well. But on this second album, like my fans are a bit like some fans that are a bit weird, and I wouldn't even call them fans. They're just kind of a bit obsessive, and like they're these like fully grown men who have like already had their families but are like divorced now, and they're convinced that I've never been in love and that I need to go like to their house and marry them. And it's just like, leave me alone. I'm 20 years old. You're some 50-year-old greasy man. Yeah, get like you know. It's just that people kind of assume that they know you, and also I feel really patronised by like some journalists and stuff.
How did these men get in touch with you?
Just start hanging around outside my bus. Like there was this one guy in England who stood outside my house for like 7 months and kept writing me these dodgy letters in like spirals. Like it was really scary. But yeah, and people and a lot of journalists patronised me, going, "Oh, you're only like 19 when you wrote the record. You don't know what you're talking about." So on the second record, it's the second record is going to be another breakup record, but I'm going to try and be a little bit more kind of discreet in how honest I am. But I'm still going to be honest about it, because I think that's why people like my record, because they can relate to it, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be constantly kind of having like kind of, I don't know, crunching my shoulders, thinking, oh, what are they going to say, what are they going to do? So I'm just going to kind of be a bit more clever with it.
Interesting that it's going to be a breakup record, even though you're not with someone at all.
Yeah, but last summer when I was sitting in the pub, whoo!
You talked about this a bit on stage the other night at Massey Hall. I mean, you've that there's famously people say that your first record is the record that it takes your whole life to make, and then the second one there's and so you've known these songs for quite some time, and you've been performing them.
Yeah.
What's your relationship to these songs at this point? Do you get sick of promoting this record? Is it time for you to move on, or are you still enjoying the fruits of 19?
I'm still enjoying performing 19, but I need to move on. Like, I'm not bored of my songs, but it kind of gets more painful every time I do a show, because like the boy that the album's about has moved on, and it's very clear that he's moved on, and he knows that I'm not able to move on while I'm still singing about him. Do you know what I mean? And that's embarrassing, and it's humiliating, because I'm doing really well, and like he's jealous, and I've done the best revenge ever, but yet he knows I'm still singing about him every night, even though I've kind of got like the world at my feet, and like, I have been in a relationship since him and stuff like that, and I feel really humiliated by that. So I do need to write new songs just to get away from that and be like, I don't need you to write an album. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I am. I do need to desperately write some new songs, and I've got like 6 new songs.
Are you daunted by the idea of a second album now that this one has done so well?
No, I'm not, because like I think because like the success of 19 is like kind of shocked everyone involved with it, like, because like I said, like I signed for no money in the UK. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing riding on it. I think if I'd sold like 10,000 records worldwide, then they'd be really rushing me, like, to go, quick, let's do another record, like you didn't make much of an impact, so you can follow it up with whatever. But because of the success, I feel like people are like, take your time, and I find that debut artists and bands get really frightened about losing the little niche that they've created for themselves, and they get scared that people are going to forget about them, and they rush their album, and then kind of constantly want to stay in the limelight, and even when they're not performing, they'll go on like tacky chat shows and tacky game shows and stuff like that, and it just like and sell out and do like adverts and stuff like that. Whereas I think you're only as good as your next record, and I don't care if the whole world forgets about me, if it takes me 5 years to write a second album. If you come back with that like amazing single and wicked record, then people will remember you.
I love
So
the
I'd rather
perspective
take
you
time.
have. Good for you. You'll soon be performing with one of your heroes, the great Etta James. You've been performing covers of her songs. What's that going to be like to be on stage with her?
Best night ever. I thought the Grammys was the best night ever, and then my 2 days after the Grammys, my agent Kirk was like, "Oh, Etta James said yeah, by the way," because he was like, "I'm going to ask Etta James to perform with you." I was like, "Yeah, great. Why don't you do that? Yeah, good idea."
Right.
Thinking he was like joking.
Right.
And he's like, "She said yeah," and I was like, "Said yeah to what?" And he's like, "Doing Hollywood Bowl with you," and like I had to hang up the phone. I was like, "Oh my god." But it's going to be amazing. I was booked to do the show for ages, and then like my first show in LA was 70 people at Hotel Cafe, and then it was the Roxy, and then it was the Wilton a couple of months ago. So it went from 2,200 to 17,000. I was like, Kirk, that's a bit adventurous. I don't think that's going to happen. Let's co-headline it. So then he asked her. But like, she's the reason I started singing. Like, she blows me away and convinces me like no other artist has or ever will.
You get me nervous?
Oh yeah. Oh, like I said at the Amsterdam show, that arena. Oh my gosh. I'll probably die, but I'll die a happy woman if I die. Do you know what I mean? Like, the fact that it's pretty much the last thing I do in America as well on this album, and to end it with like something that I would never expected to ever do in like 20 years time blows my mind.
One of the other things you're doing in America before you guys is you're going to be the first guest on the relaunched MTV Unplugged, and this was a big series through the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, Nirvana famously on MTV Unplugged. Do you remember MTV? You're pretty young.
I never saw them. I never saw it when it was on MTV, but I've got all the CDs and I've seen it on YouTube and stuff like that. And the Nirvana one is like incredible, but the Lauryn Hill one is the one that I love. I think she was phenomenal in that one. So I'm really, really excited. And I only realised the other day that it was the MTV Unplugged.
Yeah.
I thought I was just doing an acoustic show to like some people. And then my mate that comes with me and takes photographs was like, "Is it like the Unplugged?" And so I asked my tour manager, he's like, yeah, it's the MTV Unplugged. I'm really, really excited. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm so like, I didn't even know I was the first person to be doing it again. So
That's a good...
and you know what's weird?
Yeah.
MTV in America, they'd never played Chasing Pavements. They'd never ever played Chasing Pavements. I'm a bit confused.
Well, I don't think MTV plays much music at all.
That's
anymore.
very true.
Yeah,
it's all reality shows. But they've never ever had anything on me. So I'm really, really like flattered that the first thing they're doing with me is Unplugged.
Okay, and very quickly, I got to ask. I mean, there's It's too much to ask you about here, but Ugly Betty.
Yeah.
So who asked you? Were you a fan of the show
Oh
already?
yeah, and I'm a huge fan of the show. And then when I did SNL, America came down to SNL to see me perform, and she came backstage and she's like,
Not the nation, but the
"Oh
actress.
yeah, the whole nation came to my
America
dressing
came-
room."
yeah.
Yeah, no, America, the actress Betty, came backstage to meet me, and she was like, "I came all the way here to see you," and I was just like, "Oh my god, like Ugly Betty's in my dressing room," and she's like, "I'm gonna get you on the show," and I was like, "What? Like, you know, how are you gonna write me into the show?" And then so I thought nothing of it. Swapped a few emails, and then I did a not a huge show, a tiny show, sorry, a radio show in New York before like the huge long tour, and all the producers came down and they said the same thing, we're going to get you in the show, and I was like, okay, all right, cool, like didn't believe them, and then about a month ago I got a call saying, do you want to be an Ugly Betty? So I was like, yeah.